We go with the first pick in the 2020 draft. The Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow, quarterback, LSU.
Let's get this started with the 33rd pick in the 2020 draft. The Cincinnati Bengals select T. Higgins, wide receiver, Clemson.
Sacks and tight ends last week against the Rams. Where does Burrow go here from the gun? He fakes, throwing to the end zone. Wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
With the fifth pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU.
Got an open target. It's Chase at the 40. Look at that move. Look at Chase go! Oh my goodness, what a gear he just found. Chase for the touchdown. Wow, Chase is on the case.
The Bengals in the 5th round take Evan McPherson out of Florida. Big leg. You saw him kicking the fog at least once.
Do it again. Here we go. This could be a sentence that a month ago would sound incomprehensible. From 31 yards, McPherson, and Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
Oh, man, that was beautiful. Oh, Who Dey, Bengal fans. This is the Bengals Pulse, a heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals. You see, we have a whole dais is the word, right? A whole dais full of incredible Bengal fans. Justin has joined us once again for our 3.0 mock, our post-free agency mock. Got Eric above me, Mon up in the top corner. How you guys doing? Everybody good?
Great. Glad to have Mike Wells back.
Yeah. That guy knows his stuff.
Eric, excellent job with the intro. Obviously, some great picks over these last couple of drafts. Really, let's be honest. We're going to redo that. We're going to redo the 2021 draft, right?
Yeah,
Eventually, we're going to redo the 2020. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we were talking about it. I wish we could in real life, but
I know, right? Because besides Jamar and Money Mac, boy, that draft was not good at all. That's the one where we tried to go out and fix the trenches, and that did not work.
No, it was ugly. You're right. I think there were 7 picks out of 9 that were offense and defensive linemen, and didn't work out. So we're seeing the effects of it now. So let's fix it in this draft.
Isn't it weird, guys, seeing that COVID draft again? It's just bizarre, right? Like you kind of forget that whole thing really happened. You know, do you guys feel that? It's weird. Right.
Well, even T. Higgins touchdown with nobody in the stands it's like I can't believe that actually happened.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. Eric, when you transition to the live show, I can't see the intro anymore. I haven't been able to, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm gonna have to on the replay. I'll watch it on the replay, and I'm sure it's a doozy. Thanks a lot, Eric. You're nice.
Well, I wanted to put those in there, and it was a little bit longer, but to show how impactful a draft can be. Those are only 4 picks, and we only nailed 2 picks in that Jamar Chase draft, but those 2 picks got us to the Super Bowl. I mean, you don't have to be perfect. 50% would be awesome, but very impactful.
Well, especially when you're trying to fix the trenches. Let me say this real quick. Again, that I've never been to Vegas before. My wife and I, in 2020, we had our plane tickets purchased. We had our hotel booked. We were going to the NFL draft and doing a whole week there in Vegas. We're going to watch it live. The Bengals pick their franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow, and COVID hit a month later. Can you believe that? I mean, that's my luck. The one time I'm going to Vegas and COVID hits a month after. Just crazy.
Yeah, that was we're past it. COVID.
We're past it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
2024 draft.
Let's talk about, before we get to the draft, though, let's talk about some of these rule changes real quick. The NFL passes a couple of rule changes. We kind of talked about these on the show. The NFL has now banned the hip drop tackle, which, we talked a little bit about it. I think we all agree that that's not going to be conducive to what us NFL fans expect by watching an NFL game. Now we have given more to the referees to be able to control the football game, which is something that they already have too much control as far as I'm concerned. Now you throw in another subjective penalty in the mix. Justin, let me get your thoughts on this real quick. The hip drop tackle, was this a good call, the NFL banning this?
Well, I think from a safety standpoint, yeah, I get why they did it, but I'm with you, Jake. I think anytime you give referees an opportunity to make a call, the one more thing they have to look out for and make a judgment call on, it definitely creates issues. And yeah, I'm with you. I worry about what it will do in the heat of a moment, at a big point of a big game. A call like that gets made could have a really big impact on outcome one way or the other.
I agree. Mom, what are your thoughts?
I agree with Justin. Nobody wants to see any player injured. It's not good, especially somebody like a Mark Andrews. Still, it's just I don't know what a defensive player is supposed to do. If you remember the horse collar tackle, that was outlawed. And I think what we're seeing with the hip drop, I think that was created partially because of the horse collar. So I guess what I'm trying to say, there's going to be a blowback effect. What are NFL players going to do to compensate so they can get these players down? Are they going to go low, or are you going to see more ankle injuries, or are you going to see, knee injuries because players are just diving and trying to, rodeo these guys down? And I don't know. I think I wish they wouldn't have done it. Let's put it that way, because I think it's going to bog down games, and it's also going to cost a team a game or two. And I just don't like it.
It's going to be like the last Boy Scout, man. They're going to start carrying, and that's how they'll get them down.
Yeah, that's right. 40 cal.
Yeah.
Andrew makes a good point on here. He says they already can't get roughing the passer right. I mean, that's 100% true, Andrew. They can't. And again, now you give them this subjective opportunity to. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Coaching football for 25 plus years, how are you supposed to teach these guys how to tackle? It makes no sense. You have a 215-pound safety trying to tackle a 260-pound tight end. I mean, what do you want these guys to do? It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm all for player safety, but I think we are getting to the point now where we are literally taking away from this great game that we've all grown up to love. And I mean, we're getting closer and closer to playing flag football, guys.
Yeah.
I agree.
100% agree.
I'd like to see the details of it, because there's been a lot of talk about this in rugby. They banned it in rugby a few years ago, but the defender is still allowed to grab them around their waist and fall to the ground. They just can't fall on their legs. So I wonder if they built that into it, or if they just said you can't drop your weight and that's it. It could lead itself to a lot of crazy plays. But
Eric, something you mentioned before we started filming here. I guess in the Hobson article, it mentioned that I guess Logan Wilson's tackle last year wouldn't have been a penalty. It won't be a penalty. But good and well, if Logan Wilson does that again in 2024, or any defender that does something similar to what Logan did, it's up to the referee. It could be a 15-yard penalty, and it's just that's what I hate. It's not Major League Baseball. We don't play 162 games in the NFL. A horrible officiating call could cost you a game. That could be a home field advantage. It could be a playoff spot. You just don't have those opportunities to make up, for these silly things. You do in the NBA, you do in Major League Baseball. You don't get that luxury in the NFL.
And it sucks because Logan Wilson's getting kind of dragged through the mud. I mean, his tackle, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's a tackle that you see 100 times, but for some reason, when these NFL heads are talking about this hip drop tackle, We got to show that video. And the NFL's already said it wasn't a penalty. It's just absolutely ridiculous that Logan Wilson gets dragged through the mud because of all this nonsense. Again, I just we've seen this before with Bengal players and penalties, and I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. The other penalty, guys, it wasn't a penalty that was passed. Another rule that was passed is if you get one of your challenges correct, you get a third challenge. Is that correct, Eric?
Yep. Yeah. So before you had to get both of them correct. Now you just have to get one of the two correct, and you earn a third challenge. So that'll make for some interesting things.
I think we all can agree that's not a bad rule change. I mean, that doesn't really. What do you guys think? Are you guys against that at all?
No, I'm not. No.
I don't think that really. I don't really think that changes the game too much. They did table, Eric, the kickoff. You said they tabled that off air. Talk a little bit about that real quick. They proposed the new kickoff rules, and they tabled it.
They tabled the kickoff until May. There's a couple proposals out there. One would change the touchback in the air, I think, to make it not as penalizing to the kicking team. But the other one that's really interesting to me is adopting the XFL style kickoff. Where it's just the kicker standing there. Everybody is lined up, ready to receive the ball. And that's the one that I hope that they lean into, or at least try in a preseason, because then you don't start from I think they're like 10 yards apart. So they're not getting that full speed. It's more of a regular football play. I'd like to see, hopefully that gets some momentum, at least test it out for the preseasons.
No, they should definitely do it like the original XFL, He Hate Me style, where they just run and try to grab the ball.
He hate me. Oh, that's a great comeback there, Justin. I like that. That's a great pullback from the past. He hate me.
For sure.
Good times. All right, let's get to this mock 3.0,
hold on,
guys.
Jake, 1 second. I don't know if anybody saw this. I just saw this. Trent Brown's cap hit was revealed to be $4.4 million. I figure you guys want to comment on that. That's a steal.
That's a steal.
What do you think about that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, he has. That's great. I did read some of the details. I guess he has a per game bonus also. So if their injuries flare up, there is a incentive in there for games played. That's a good contract. That's really solid.
That's a solid contract. And once again, the Bengals pull through with a great contract. Again, they get all this crap for, during this time of year for not doing things the right way. But the Bengals always end up pulling together these great contracts where they're not responsible for all this crazy dead money and all this other stuff that these other teams have to deal with. Great job. I mean, 4.4 for Trent Brown is a steal. That's incredible, Mon.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Hopefully he gets to play all 17 games this year, because the knock on him is he's been hurt a lot. And but when he does play, he's very effective. And I forgot he was a Florida Gator, Justin.
He is. Former Florida Gator Trent Brown. He actually played guard at UF. He was a JUCO transfer. Didn't even play a ton at Florida, but he's been a very good, very solid pro.
And the Bengals once again get another good Gator. Real quick, KP from KC. Thank you so much for that super chat, KP. We really appreciate it. He says Reisner as a backup. What do you guys think about Dalton? It's Reisner, isn't it? Reisner?
Yeah, he's bounced around, but when he plays, his PFF numbers are pretty decent. I know he's available. I think he wants to be a starter, and that's the problem. I just don't think he's going to be a starter in Cincinnati. I would love to have him on the roster. He's quality depth. But
Justin,
great.
Where did he come from, Justin? Because I remember when that draft came around, you were talking about us maybe looking at him.
Yeah, he was a K-State guy, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, I think he was. Yeah, Kansas. Yeah, I think he was Kansas State. Yeah.
Yeah, you just wonder what his deal is right now. Why isn't anybody picking him up? I know he was heavily hyped last year. People wanted us to pick him up to replace Volson, but there's just crickets out there. So I don't know what his deal is.
Interesting. Right now, it's crickets out there for everyone, right? We haven't seen the Bengals really doing anything at this moment. Obviously, the meetings are going on right now, and Coach Taylor and the Browns are all down here with us in Florida, going through all that stuff. I don't know if you guys saw real quick. Zach Taylor came out and said, Joe Burrow, he's right where we want him to be. Joe Burrow, I don't know if you saw the videos of him deadlifting. I mean, he's working out. He's going to be throwing very soon, guys. It looks very good on the Joe Burrow wagon right now that he is going to be ready to go for training camp. What do you guys think of that real quick, and then we'll get to mock?
I heard he can almost do as many push-ups in one sitting as Mon can. So
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That's those advanced genetics that Mon has.
I work out at Planet Fitness in Cocoa, and I see a lot of Jake's football players down there working out. I really do. And I'm giving them pointers, and they're going to be successful this year.
You say do it like Mon, not like Jake.
Do not be talking to my football players, Mon, about working out. All right, guys, let's get to our mock 3.0, our post free agency mock draft. All right, Eric, I'm going to let you go ahead and explain the rules, and then we will get into it. So why don't you explain what we're doing here?
Sure. We're going to do 5 rounds tonight. Going to go kind of like we always do. The exception tonight, everybody's going to make a pick. And then I think we're going to pick Jake's actually in the actual simulator. But everybody's going to make a pick, and then we'll come around, circle back to the end, and compare drafts and see who got an F and who got Brock Bowers and got an A.
All right, well, and all of you guys out there listening, thank you once again for joining us. We love you guys. We appreciate you joining us tonight for Mock 3.0. Make sure you guys put your picks in the comments section so we can see who you would like our Bengals to pick. Go ahead, Mon.
I just want our fans that are in the chat, please pay attention. Try to ignore Aaron because you get distracted by him. And let's talk draft. Bengals draft. We don't want to talk about his Ravens.
Yeah, Aaron loves us. I mean, he's our number one fan. He is our number one fan. Aaron back. He is back from the depression of watching his team choke once again.
We might have to make a trip to Baltimore just for him.
All right, you guys ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Started.
All right, let's do it. Let's fix our Bengals through this draft. Here we go. Okay, guys. So the draft has started, and we see 3 quarterbacks taking the first 3 picks. Some big names coming off the board here. Wow, Verse, guys. Verse has jumped up, huh? He is. Bowers is gone. No.
Rejecting all trades.
All right, so no trades. All right, here we go.
All right, so we're sitting at 18. We've got Troy Fatano, Brian Thomas Jr., Johnny Newton, Brian Murphy, Jackson Powers Johnson, Latu. I'm not sure how you say that. Mon, why don't you digest this first? Tell us what you think here of this board.
Yeah, the guy I wanted was picked by the Commanders. I'm going to go trenches heavy in this draft. Everybody knows that. I've been preaching that since the season ended. I do like Byron Murphy. I know Jake picked him a few weeks ago. I love Jackson Powers Johnson. I think either one of those guys would fill a major need. I'm going to pick Fotanu from Washington. Very athletic, had a great combine. Daniel Jeremiah was raving about him. He's very versatile. The Bengals love that. He can play tackle. He can play guard. The Bengals have to address their offensive line. They have 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen are free agent acquisitions. We have to get some homegrown talent in there. So my pick is going to be Troy Fotanu.
All right, Justin, why don't you go?
Why does it say Murphy played at Iowa? That's wrong.
Yeah,
that is wrong.
So I gotta go with. Is there another?
I don't know. That's weird.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay,
that's a mistake.
With the way this draft is playing out here, I think it's interesting with the Bengals. I think with some of the free agent signings, they've certainly closed some gaps. I feel like there's a lot of positions they could go here, but with where in one position, I'm going to say that I would not be upset if they come away with at 18 would be corner. If they come out with a Quinion Mitchell, would not be upset about that. But with where this draft is going here, I'm with Mon. You got to go with the Washington tackle. He's your best bet. Versatility. Trent Brown has been an injury liability in recent years. He can step in at right tackle. He could compete at guard. That would be my pick as well in terms of addressing a major need along the offensive front.
And so before Jake gives us his pick, we forgot to do this. So Brock Bowers went 15 to the Colts, so he's gone. Amarius Mims is off the board. J.C. Latham's off the board. Jared Verse is off the board. So Jake can't pick Brock Bowers like we want him to. So go ahead, Jake.
Who's the next tight end? No, I'm just joking. No, this is a tough one. Because I think what the Bengals have done is they filled two holes, kind of like Justin was saying with Rankins and then obviously Brown. But really, I agree with Justin. I think Murphy or Fuatano. I don't think you can miss with either one of those guys here, because I think you need a swing defensive tackle and a swing tackle. But I'm going to learn my lesson from the last draft, because the last draft I thought for sure some of those tackles would fall to the second round, and none of them did. And we got hurt with that. So I'm going to make Mon very happy here, although it's hurting me. It's killing me. Let me just say this too. Brian Thomas from LSU is a sneaky pick here, guys. The Bengals like him a lot, and there's a lot of chattering going on right now with Thomas and the Bengals. So do not be surprised. I'm not going to pick him here, because I know you guys think all I want is wide receivers, but don't be surprised if Brian Thomas might be the pick here for Cincinnati. But I'm going to go with offensive tackle, because I think we need a swing guy, and I'm going to go with Fuatano as well.
So question for all of you. I get so frustrated every year when we draft our first round pick does not start. Is there anybody on this list that's a plug and play instant starter or goes and takes the job right away?
That's a good question, Justin.
I think the center would start over Karras.
No.
Maybe. I think if with that board right there, you would be looking at those two defensive tackles, Newton and Murphy, would give you your best shot at a plug and play. Thomas maybe at receiver, although it wouldn't be a sure thing. It's been brought up in the chat. Jackson Powers-Johnson would be a great value here. I agree with that. And I also noticed Bando's Burner was talking about corner and the depth there. And I agree. Cincinnati has a lot of depth at corner, but I think what kind of scares me is I don't feel like there's a true number one corner right now. Maybe Turner becomes that, but I don't feel like you can say he is that going into the season. So that's the only reason I mentioned corner as a possibility. But in terms of plug and play guys, I'd say Newton and Murphy, that group would be your best bets.
I like Newton too. I mean, I think either one of those guys could be targets for the Bengals, guys. I think I'm going to say this. I think if the draft falls just like this, I think the Bengals have 4 to choose from right here. I think those 4 in a row, Fuatano, Thomas, Newton, and Murphy, all could be Cincinnati Bengals if the draft falls like this. It's really just where the Bengals have those guys. But there's been chatter with the Bengals and all 4 of those guys right there. So could be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll see.
I agree.
Okay. Everybody agrees we're going with Fuatano, probably because I can't pronounce his name properly, and that's fine with me.
All right.
Pick us in.
All right, here we go. Oh, Kool-Aid went to the Steelers.
Eagles. Byron Murphy to the Texans. Brian Thomas to the Chiefs. I don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
Chiefs can forfeit all their draft picks. Steelers got Jackson Powers Johnson. Oh,
I tell you,
Wow.
if the Texans do get Murphy, that's a heck of an offseason that they're pulling off for sure. All right, here we go. Whew.
Reject. All right, so we are in the second round, pick 49. Notable people that went off the board. I think we called them out. I don't see anybody jumping out at me. Jackson Powers Johnson to the Steelers. Lad McConkey.
All three of the good centers there are off the board in the last 10 or 15 picks there.
Did Frazier go?
Yeah,
Wow.
43 to the Falcons. Van Pran, 48. Love Cedric Van Pran. Big fan of him out of Georgia.
All right, who's going first?
I'll go first this round because it fell like I was hoping it would. Sweat is sitting there for the taking. Again, we talked about the last round. The Bengals, they need a swing defensive tackle. They need a swing offensive tackle. We fixed the offensive side in the first round. Sweat is sitting there. I'm going to make this an easy pick for me. I'm going Sweat in the second round for the Bengals. No doubt about it. Easy pick. The Bengals are running to the podium.
Trey Benson is staring at you here.
No. Sweat is the pick for me.
Michael Penix? Sure. No? Okay.
All right, Justin, what do you think?
Interesting group here. I think honestly, I wouldn't mind Sweat out of that group, but we've already had too many similar picks, so I'm not going to go in that direction here. Okay. Although I'd be fine with that because, and the other thing about Sweat that I like, those defensive tackles we were talking about in the first round, smaller, more pass rushing type defensive tackles. I feel like the Bengals need more of a body in there. And that's definitely something Sweat's going to give you in terms of, he's 370. He's going to eat up some space. So that's really
DJ Reader, right? The DJ Reader, which we need to fill.
Supersized DJ Reader.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I think as much as I hate to do this, I think I'm gonna try to address a need at running back and go Benson here.
Yes. Oh, you just made Eric happy. Oh God,
he's a Gator fan and he took Benson. That's pretty big of you, Justin.
All right, Justin. Nice.
Mom, what do you think?
I think to me it's going to be a no-brainer. A Sweat is needed. They need bodies on the defensive line. They need bodies on the offensive line. Rankins and Hill and all the other defensive tackles are the same guy. They're the three techniques. That they don't have that space heater in there, and Sweat's going to be that guy. I am worried about his weight, though. It's up there. It's almost 370. I don't know how effective he's going to be at that weight, but I think that for the needs they have, to me, that's a no-brainer. So I'm going to pick Sweat from Texas, or is he from Iowa also?
Justin, he had a good combine though, right? I mean, he showed some athleticism, didn't he, in the combine?
He did, and he, for as big as he is, he's a great athlete. And then they're talking about this in the chat. That's going to be your big concern is, can he keep that weight in check? You're talking about a guy who's 370 pounds.
Yeah.
Is that going to be an issue? Is he going to be committed to making sure that number gets maybe closer to 340, 350, which I think is what he had been listed as. But, he hasn't seen 350 probably since junior prom or something. So, and I like they're talking about Horo from Clemson, very athletic defensive tackle. Again, talking about a guy who's probably closer to 295, 300, more of a pass rusher at defensive tackle. So I'm not sure if he fits the need as much, but very talented defense tackle. A guy I really like. They're sitting ranked number 49 is Cooper Beebe from Kansas State. Yeah. Big fan of him, although he is more of a true interior offensive lineman. So maybe maybe not as much of a priority, but definitely a guy I really like there in the second, third round. If he falls to the Bengals at some point and they have an ability to go offensive line, that's a pick I'd love to see him make.
Okay. All right. Good
Good deal.
stuff. Good stuff, Justin. Yeah, I think what the Bengals have done so far in this offseason, that's the one true position, that nose tackle position, that big space eater to fill the shoes of DJ Reader. It is going to be interesting to see, though, if the Bengals do go out and maybe sign another defensive tackle. We kind of talked about that before on the show, guys, that maybe there is another defensive tackle that the Bengals grab before the draft. And not saying they won't draft a guy, but maybe just to fill that room out a little bit better. Real quick, your thoughts on that, Mon? Do you think that's something the Bengals might do?
They could. They could. I mean, I think they're going to look at all options, obviously. 10 picks. They just need to keep on adding bodies in there, and we'll see. We'll see in the next few weeks.
All right. So, okay, So I got Sweat. Justin took Benson, and Mon took Sweat as well.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Let's go.
I'm not sweating your picks. Let me say that.
All right. Here we go. We're going to the third round where the Bengals have two picks. One of those picks, thank Jesse Bates, right? Jesse Bates got us that conditional third round. So thank you, Jesse Bates, for that. Bengals picking 3 times in day 2. Going to be interesting to see, guys, if the Bengals use one of those third-round picks, maybe to move up in the second round. That might be an interesting thing to look. All right, here we go. Pick 80 in the third round, our first pick in the third round. Mon, you went Fuatano. Justin, why don't you go first in this one?
So since I went running back, Eric, can you go down a little bit and see what else we have on the board here? In terms of options.
Let's just get into it. Some of the noticeable people that went off. Trey Benson did go to the Cardinals at 66. Michael Hall Jr. is gone. Ben Sinnott, one of Mon's favorite, I think, is gone. Braden Fisk went to the Browns. I do not like that in any way.
Damn.
Top guys on the board right now: Jonathan Brooks, running back; Brandon Dorless, edge; Cole Bishop, safety; Will Shipley, running back. Stop me when you see someone you like there.
Rosengarten. I know you had talked a little bit about him before, Justin. Rosengarten, the offensive tackle.
he had a really nice combine. So interesting group here. So a couple names I like. Cade Stover is a really nice looking tight end. James Williams is kind of an interesting player from Miami. He actually started off as a safety, but he's a bigger guy. He's like 6'4", 235. Would be a really interesting chess piece there at linebacker. Could probably do a lot with him in terms of dropping him into coverage, playing tight ends, but also using him to play the run and also maybe getting some pass rushing out of him as well. But I would say in terms of looking at that group right there, that's tough. I guess I'm probably going to be looking at but can we go back down a little bit again? I guess if we're going to address a need at defensive tackle in terms of getting a space either in there, I'm going to go McKinley Jackson from Texas A&M.
All right, McKinley Jackson from Texas A&M. Let me ask you this real quick, guys. Do you think, let's say that Fuatano doesn't fall to the Bengals in the first round. We all felt like he was the pick in this mock. Let's say he doesn't fall. I just want to know, is Rosengarten a guy that fits this Bengals offense? Is he a guy that maybe might be that swing tackle, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, if the Bengals end up addressing that position in the third round, then he'd probably be the best option. And, we saw this last time and we're seeing it again here. You have that really great group there at the top of the first round that you'll probably see 7-8 offensive linemen off the board by the end of the first round. But once you get past that, it gets a little more, it gets a little leaner. Blake Fisher from Notre Dame would be another big option there for a potential swing tackle as well, once you're looking in terms of third round or later.
Okay. All right. Mon, why don't you go next?
Eric, let's go down to the go to the highest rated player, please. Yeah, we don't want a quarterback. I like Jonathan Brooks from Texas. I know there's different draft sites and guides. One of them, NFL Draft Buzz, has him the top-rated running back in the draft. He's like 6 foot 220, 4.5 40. He's a workhorse at Texas. I'm going to pick him. I was going to pick a running back in the first 4 or 5 picks. I think Zach Moss is a smaller back, 5'9", 200 pounds. Chase Brown, 205 pounds. This guy's bigger, built more like a Joe Mixon kind of guy, a thumper. I want Jonathan Brooks because I think the Bengals are going to be committed to running the ball a little bit more this year.
Okay. All right. So Mon's got Jonathan Brooks. I am up. Can you scroll down for me just a little bit, Eric? That's good. Right there. Right there's good.
Just remember, we have another pick at 97. So
stop right there, Eric. Stop right there. Scroll up. All right. So Justin, let me ask you. I think this. I could go running back here like Mon did, but I'm gonna go corner, and I want to know your thoughts on Abrams, Drain, James, and Green. What are your thoughts on those 3 guys, the 3 top corners that I'm looking at right now?
Well, there's been some buzz on Abrams Drain. I know he's definitely a guy that had a good season at Missouri. He is on the small side, which
I saw that 180 pounds is pretty small.
Yeah, and you already have a guy who's a little on the smaller side in Turner, who's more of a burner. So I'm not sure where he'd be a great fit for the Bengals because of that. But you're talking about a really twitchy, athletic guy. And Missouri, I mean, they had a phenomenal season. They've really sort of rebuilt their entire program in terms of getting the type of athletes that you need to have to compete in the SEC.
Okay. All right. Scroll back up for me, Eric. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of those corners that are sitting there. I'll be honest with you guys. I really like Will Shipley. I think he's a guy that is, again, he's not what you would think is a big guy, but he is. He's a good sized guy. He runs between the tackles, really catches the ball in the backfield. I mean,
and you hate to make this comparison because it's kind of the stupid, obvious one, but he's certainly has some comparisons. You can certainly draw some comparisons between him and Christian McCaffrey in terms of athletic profile, size, and skill set. Now, I don't think he will be as good as McCaffrey has been at the pro level, but I think he'll also has a chance to be a really good NFL player as well. And if you can get a guy like that in the 3rd or 4th round, I think you're doing really well.
I'm going to go Will Shipley. Here. And again, I just know that he really kind of carried Clemson these last couple years, was really the workhorse. They got the ball to him a lot, and he's a leader. I think he's got all those qualities that the Bengals like. He's from a winning program. He's very successful at a very high level, and he's a leader. So I'm going to go Will Shipley here.
Yeah, right. That's a good pick.
All right, here we go. And we're moving down. We're moving down. We are moving down. Rosengarten goes to the Texans. All right. Drain goes to the Bucks. And here we go. We are at our pick. Mon, you are back up. Why don't you go first here, Mon? What do you think?
All right, I'm gonna scan and see what we got here. Ooh, Johnny Wilson is there. Nice. Let's keep on going.
Kate
Keep
Stover,
on going.
Blake
Keep on
Fisher.
going. Oh wow. Go back to the highest rated.
Michael
Michael
Penix never going to
Penix
be
is
drafted.
just falling. He is just
Yeah,
falling.
he's falling. I'm tempted. I know we already got a big defensive tackle in Sweat, but McKinley Jackson there. I just don't think we need two giant run stuffers. It's gonna be a tough one. Go ahead and give me DJ James, cornerback from Auburn. You can never ever have enough cornerbacks. It's a must. And he played SEC football, so Justin, you know about him. He's tall, obviously. He's on the light side, but let's get him. We need bodies back there.
All right. Justin, what do you think here? What do you like?
Well, with what's on the board, I think I'd be tempted to go with Williams, the Miami hybrid linebacker. That would be my guy. He's a lesser version of a recent player. I think he would kind of draw a comparison to would be someone like Isaiah Simmons. I don't think he has quite the same just over the top athleticism, but in terms of ability to do a lot of different things, give you different looks, play different positions. He's not just a true linebacker. I mean, he's a guy who's going to be able to do everything that you need out of that position. And also probably, if you have some unique sub packages that you want to utilize his skill set on, he would give you a really nice Swiss Army knife type piece on the defense. So I'm going to go with Williams.
Okay. I like it.
So,
I like it.
Throw this out there for you. Stranger 420 has out there. And I know you guys know my opinions on Johnny Wilson. Stranger, you're living in Florida. A couple of us Florida State fans, or Mon's got a couple kids at Florida State. So we watched every one of these games. And Johnny Wilson, man, drops the easy ones, just drops them. So it's bad. The dude is a freak athlete. He's huge. He's fast. He's got it all, but somehow he just drops the ball. And I don't know if you can teach that out of him. Justin, you think you can teach that out of him?
Eric, genetic freak like me. He's a winner. Okay.
And always dropping the ball.
Johnny Wilson.
Always dropping the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't appreciate that. That hurt.
Well, then you don't. He's not the same as you, Mon, because you don't drop the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question. Can you teach a guy how to consistently catch the football? I mean, that's not something like if maybe we're talking 5th or 6th round, okay, but this early in the draft, I mean, and again, with him, to me, it's not just the drops. He has awful change of direction skills. He really has one ability, and that's to get deep in a hurry, and you just kind of throw the ball up to him. And obviously, he's got a huge wingspan. He's a lot bigger than the guys who are covering him at the college level, and that makes him a really dangerous threat at Florida State. And he was fantastic at that. But in terms of being able to do a lot of the things, we're talking about receiver. What the Bengals are probably looking for right now is more of a slot guy, and that's not what Wilson is. So,
and
Diddy, not a fan.
Diddy says he is on tape, but a bit faster. So I am saying absolutely no, because I do not want to watch on tape. Again,
Mon, you can't say that you don't drop the ball and then drop from the
live
stream.
Listen, guys, my wife and daughter are in Massachusetts visiting a college campus. I got dogs going crazy here. So if I drop out, I'll be back. I can listen to you guys, but I'll be back. Trust me. Okay?
It's Bachelor night. It's Bachelor night in the Abu Hassan. All right. Can you scroll down for me? Eric, scroll down for me here. Let me fix this here. Cade Stover. Oh, keep going. Man, oh man, oh man. Ugh.
Jermaine Burton would not be a bad choice at wide receiver there.
Go back up. Let me see Jermaine Burton from Alabama. Jermaine Burton, elite speed. Oh yeah, he's kind of a he seems more like a maybe a slot guy.
Yeah, he'd be a better fit than Johnny Wilson, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Go ahead and close that out, Eric. Scroll back up. Tell me real quick, Justin, before I make this pick. Tell me a little bit about the guy that Mon drafted. Do you know anything about this James, this corner from Auburn?
Yeah, I mean he had a nice season for Auburn, although they had sort of an up and down year. But again, like the Missouri corner we're just talking about, I think the red flag with James is he's just on the lean side, and not a great draft for corners. I mean, you got you got Arnold and Mitchell who will probably go within the first 20 picks, and then after that, Kool-Aid, McKinstry, and then it kind of starts dropping off from there.
And hopefully the Bengals go out and get a veteran. I think what we need is a veteran corner. Not really another rookie in the corner room. All right, go ahead and close all of that, Eric, for me, please. All right, I'm going to make my pick here. I want to go best player available, and I just don't see. I don't want to reach here, and I'm going to go McKinley Jackson because to me, I think you cannot have enough space eaters. We've seen it with this Bengals defensive line that has struggled these last couple of years, not having depth at the interior defensive line position. I'm not going to reach here. I'm going to go McKinley Jackson.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. We are in round 4 now. Round 4. See some quarterbacks coming off the board here in round 4. All right, and here we go.
Your tight end's still there. So we on the board now. We still have James Williams, linebacker, Miami. Cade Stover's still there. Safety, Jaden Hicks. Tyron Hopper, linebacker. We're going to skip the quarterbacks. That is a good question. That could you see us drafting? Maybe not in this round, but maybe in the 6th or 7th. Jake Browning's replacement, because assuming he's probably going to be taking his one successful year and running next year. Could you guys see us taking that later on?
Yeah, I mean, maybe 6th round or something. Yeah, sure. I mean, I think there's too many needs to address it at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, the Bengals have 10 picks. I mean, there's they have time. All right, let's go. Mon, Eric, let's go, Justin. Justin, you go first here. What do you think?
Well, let's talk about Cade Stover. I know that name has come up quite a bit. We haven't really talked about him.
Really, really athletic tight end from Ohio State. He's going to be my pick. He's a really nice player at a great combine. Yeah, I mean that's a good fit. And in terms of, I think tight end is a position that I don't think Cincinnati has prioritized in the draft in recent years. And I don't think they're going to go unless a Brock Bowers falls to him at 18. I don't think they're going to go there early, but this is one of those drafts where I think in the 4th round, you're probably going to have 3 or 4 really good options, and Stover's definitely one of them. So that's going to be my guy. And another one I see up there who I'm a big fan of is Hopper from Missouri. Really athletic linebacker, not super big, but reminds me of, and I'm drawing a blank on the name, but the Missouri linebacker for the Chiefs that they drafted a couple years ago. Really a big impact player who has the ability to play the run well as make an impact against the pass.
Okay. All right.
Who did you pick?
He picked
picked
Stover. And I'm gonna go with Justin. I'm gonna pick Cade Stover too. I think tight end. He was there. I almost took him in that last pick of the third round. So I didn't want to reach with that pick. And now he falls to me again in the fourth. It's destiny. I'm going to go Cade Stover here.
Nick
All right,
Bolton,
Eric,
that's
let me
what I was
see.
thinking of.
Eric, let's see.
Oh, Nick Bolton. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Keep what the highest rated player is Williams.
Yep.
Okay, let's keep on going up.
Mekhi Wingo, I saw they were talking about him in the chat.
Yeah, I
really,
liked him. He's a smaller guy though.
He is.
Small arm, not very long arms.
He's only 6 foot 285. Not very big. He's going to be more of a situational player at DT,
Right.
but he's very nice, very impactful, very active on the interior.
I do like Malik Washington. He's a shorter wide receiver from Virginia, very athletic. I guess he tested well at the combine. I'm intrigued by him. I feel like we need another wide receiver. On the short side, though, close out of that real quick. Keep on going up real quick. I've heard a lot of good things about McCormick also. You know what? Listen, we need to work on the trenches, guys. Give me the Wingo from LSU.
All right.
Write it down here.
All right, and that closes out the fourth round. And Stover to me. Okay, here we go. All right, we're into the fifth round. This is all we're going to be doing tonight, is finishing up the fifth round here. I don't think none of us have picked wide receiver or corner yet. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is.
I picked the corner.
Oh, you did. You picked the Auburn kid. That's right.
Yeah,
I picked the Auburn kid. No receiver. None of us have picked receiver yet, and only one of us has picked a corner.
So that brings up a good question. Anton had a good question here. I don't think Yoshi, but question is Charlie Chuck Sizzle or Yoshi competing for the slot here? I don't see Yoshi being in the slot, but do we see Chuck Sizzle stepping up and taking on more of a role, or maybe we're going to kind of go more Jamar Chase in the slot or a hybrid tight end? What do you guys think?
And Yoshi's more of an outside boundary guy. He's more of an X receiver. Chuck Sizzle, we really haven't. We have a very small sample size of Chuck Sizzle. You would hate for the Bengals to have to throw him out there right away to fill that Tyler Boyd position. I don't know, Justin. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's a tall ask to see if he's going to be the guy at the slot. But I'm going to tell you right now, my guy is going to be Jacob Cowing right there. Now that's a guy who will compete at the slot position. He's smaller, but he's dynamic, big play guy. I think he was at UTEP or UTSA last year, transferred into Arizona and was a part of their huge year in terms of dynamic offensive production. The Wildcats were a lot of fun to watch last year. So yeah, I know he's a little on the smaller side, but he is like really your ideal fit for that position.
All right. Houday, Cornell, good to see you in the chat, my man. And yeah, Bando said Gesicki as the slot guy. Bando could be right. That could be the slot guy. Listen, for me, I'm going to go ahead and go because it is charge on time, baby. It is charge on UCF. Javon Baker is sitting there for the taking. Guys, let me tell you, I don't watch as much college football as you guys do. I do watch UCF, obviously being an alumni. And Javon Baker, in a lot of games, was the best player on the field. This is a guy who is still a little raw, but I'm telling you guys right now, he is a game-breaking type of receiver that could fit in the slot for the Bengals. I'm taking Javon Baker. This is a no-brainer. Charge on, baby.
Nice. Let's see the highest rated for me real quick there, Eric, if you don't mind.
That's what you got.
I agree. I think Gesicki's going to be he's going to be the Tyler Boyd of this offense. Chuck Sizzle, I don't know, man. He just looks he looks like he needs to put on some weight. I don't know if he can take the pounding. I have high hopes for him, but we'll see. It's going to be a work in progress there. Justin, I like Cowing. It was really fast at the combine. I think he ran a 4.40. Baker, 6'1", 200 pounds. I like him also. Wow. Zenter broke his leg, had a nasty break, but he's a really good guard from Michigan. He'd be a lottery ticket. He'd be one hell of a lottery ticket because he was highly thought of.
He'd be a red shirt guy.
He would be. But before he broke that leg, he was considered a second rounder, I believe. You see the Ravens doing this all the time, drafting guys who are injured, and they come in and they become great pros. You know what? I picked two defensive linemen.
What do you think about Bell? I know you got high on Bell earlier on too. What do you think about him?
Bell. Yeah, tight end from FSU. I do like him a lot. You know, man, I think value-wise, I think the payoff, I'm going to take Zenter. I know he might not play because of that broken leg, but I think he has potential to be a 10-year starter. So I'm going to pick him. Total value in the 5th round, Zach Zenter, and I'm staying true to my board. I drafted 2 defensive linemen and 2 offensive linemen. I'm very happy.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys right now, and again, I think when you were saying it earlier, Justin, about how corner is kind of thin. This is a very thin draft for corner. But this is and Justin, you said it the last time we did a mock. This draft, it's really loaded. I mean, some of these guys that are falling in the 5th round could be steals. I mean, they could be big-time players in the NFL. This is a great draft to have 10 picks in, right? I mean, agreed? Four picks the first 2 days. This is a great draft for the Bengals to have that much firepower going in.
And it's a chance to load up. And, there aren't a lot of glaring holes on this roster, but I think there's also a lot of opportunity to get better at a lot of positions. I think linebacker is kind of a sneaky need in terms of running back as a position where the numbers are good. You feel good about the position, but if you have a chance to get somebody who can inject a little more dynamic presence into the position, that would be welcome. Tight end, certainly, is not bad, but if you got a chance in the 4th round to grab one of these, 6'6", 6'7" freaks who ran, 4.5 at the combine, absolutely. Or even Jaheim Bell, who doesn't have the size, but was a really nice player at FSU and is a very athletic player as well, and has the ability to kind of affect the game in different ways. FSU would hand the ball off to him some. So some really intriguing weapons. Definitely this is a great draft to have the cache of picks that Cincinnati has at hand.
I want to
Go ahead.
I want to clarify something. When I was talking about Chuck Sizzle, I don't know if he lost weight. He needs to put on weight from last year. Just durability issues. I still think he could be a good pro. But Justin, I agree with you. I just want to say something about my picks real quick, if you don't mind. I picked 2 defensive linemen and 2 offensive linemen. A majority of the starters on the offense and defensive line are free agents. That's the most expensive way to obtain them. We just don't have the salary cap for it. When we have to pay a wide receiver $35 million next year, potentially $35 million a year, Joe's contract's going to kick in. So we have to draft and develop them, and that's why I went 2 defensive linemen, 2 offensive linemen, because we got to hit with these guys. These guys have to be the future stars of those units.
Go ahead, Eric. What were you going to say?
Well, I got one point, but I'm going to bring up. I don't know that you could really say that Chuck Sizzle wasn't that durable. I mean, he broke his thumb, and what other issue did he have? He had a hamstring issue. I don't know if being bigger is going to help that in any way. So I think I don't know. he could take a leap. If he puts on weight, then he's going to get rid of his. You're going to lose speed the more weight you put on. So he's here to be that quick, shifty guy, and I just don't put on 10 pounds and you're going to be slower.
Yeah. I don't know. Listen, I have. I'm excited he's on the roster. I'm just worried about durability issues. I know I'm only basing it on 1 year. Maybe it's not fair. I still think they need to consider a wide receiver. That's why you guys picked him. We'll see. I think the Bengals are definitely going to pick a wide receiver early in the draft because like I said, with cornerbacks, you never have enough of them, and the Bengals are good at drafting wide receivers. We know that.
So my other question.
Go ahead, Eric.
My other question was: we've got 10 picks, we've got these extra 6th rounders and extra 7th rounders. Can you guys see us packaging some of those picks to move up? And what rounds do you think we would do that? Do we jump somebody in the 2nd or the 3rd, or do we take a swing for the fence and move up in the 1st?
I think I see it happening. Mon said it last week or the week before. You can't 10 picks in this league. I mean, you're not going to pick 10 guys and keep all 10. There's no reason not to have all that firepower and not use it to move up somewhere. We've seen the Bengals do it the last couple of years where they'll jump a couple spots in a round. I think 100% the Bengals will move up sometime in this draft, maybe a couple times. I don't see them doing it in the 1st round. That's not their MO. But I would love to see it if they did, because Brocky Bowers would be the target. Mom, what do you think?
Brocky.
No, I think we touched base on it last week. If there's a big run on offensive linemen, which we expect to happen, and the Bengals really are targeting one guy and they're afraid they might lose him, I could see them trying to jump up 3, 4, 5 spots. What will that take? I think it's going to take more than a 6th rounder to do that. I could see them moving up maybe in the 2nd or 3rd round. But we'll see. Last year, I know they wanted to draft a tight end. At least that's what all the pundits said. But the way the draft fell, they had no opportunity to. So hopefully that doesn't happen to them this year. If they see a need, they see a player, maybe they'll make a deal and try to move up to get them. But I won't close the door on it. Let's put it that way. I could see a potential move.
So a good question for Justin. I put this on the screen before, but where do you think Charlie Jones would stand in this draft? Do you think he'd be? What did we get him in the 4th round last year? Or was it 3rd or 4th?
Yeah,
4th.
I think it was the 4th. Yeah,
4th round.
Yeah, in this draft, maybe. I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. It's a deeper draft at receiver, but yeah, Mon, you had that's a good point you just made. If there, in terms of trades, it's not hard to envision a scenario where there's a run on offensive linemen before the Bengals get up to bat at number 18, and teams are going to know that they're going to have to get in the top 15, top 16 picks to try to secure one of those offensive tackles. So I certainly could envision a scenario where 4 or 5 trades happen, and by the time 18 rolls around, none of those top 5, 6 tackles are left on the board. That would not shock me. But I really feel like when you look at what is out there, and then in terms of what the Bengals have on their roster, if they come away with a top corner or a top defensive tackle, that's not such a bad scenario either. So we'll just kind of have to see how it goes. But in terms of trading up, I wouldn't mind seeing that if there's a guy they really like in the 2nd round or 3rd round, and they want to move up a few spots to ensure that they get their guy. I hope they do it. And like Jake said, they have started to come around on doing that more in recent years, whereas there was a time that they weren't going to trade up no matter what. They were just going to get the best player who was available to them at whatever pick they were making.
Exactly, yeah, Jake, this might make you happy. Twitter chatter, I know it's just Twitter chatter, but some of the people that have been posting this are pretty reputable. They say the Bengals are in love with Murphy. Apparently they had a big contingent at the Texas Pro Day. So if he's there at 18, I wouldn't be surprised if they jump all over that, and that'll make you look good because our first mock draft, I think you picked him.
I did. I almost picked
You
them.
did.
I almost.
And you'll
picked
let
them
us
this
know all
month.
year that you picked them. You'll let us know all year that you did.
Of course I will.
So.
I almost picked them this draft, but you guys can see my picks here. I think this. Look at those 6 picks, guys. I mean, that's helping every need right away. We got the swing tackle now. I got 2 defensive tackles to fill the need. We got a third running back. Got another tight end, and we'll see. I don't know about Case Over where he's going to end up. And Javon Baker makes the Bengals for sure. It's a good draft, guys. This is a really good draft. Mon, real quick, go through yours really quick so I can see how different it was from mine.
Okay, I picked Fotanu. I picked Sweat. First 2 picks are the same.
Okay.
I picked Jonathan Brooks, the Texas running back,
That's right.
at number 80. At 97, I picked the defensive back, James from Auburn. Then I picked Wingo, a defensive tackle from LSU. And then I took a shot at Zenter, who probably won't play this year, but at one point was considered a high draft pick. And I think he could be a starting guard for years to come.
Okay. All right.
Maybe the next Zeitler.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree. I think we can all agree on this. Bryson said it earlier. This draft needs to be a home run. Mon, you and I have said that on many of our shows. If the Bengals hit a home run with this draft, it could set this team up for years and years and years because the roster is already loaded, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's the most important off season in Bengals franchise history, and they have got to nail this draft. Jake, we were talking about a 2021 redo, doing a show on that.
Mm-hmm.
We had 7 picks that were offensive linemen or defensive linemen. I get it, 5th, 6th, 7th rounders. It's hard to have a success rate with those guys, but every NFL roster has 5th, 6th, 7th round defensive linemen, offensive linemen that contribute and play well.
Yeah.
Cam Sample is the only player that's really producing in the trenches from that draft. And it's just unacceptable. I mean, it's the equivalent of a major college program not having a recruiting season, basically. Yeah. When you think about it, could you imagine Florida, Georgia, UCF just taking the year off from recruiting? It would have catastrophic consequences to that program. I'm not saying the 2021 draft is catastrophic, but we're seeing the holes now on this roster because those things didn't work out. Tyler Shelvin was supposed to be the next DJ Reader. Jackson Carman, we know that didn't work out. Deontay Smith is still on the roster. He had a great combine. He had a great in Louisiana? What is it? The Senior Bowl. He's like one of the stars of the Senior Bowl. Yeah, he was really one of the biggest stars. Just didn't work out. It didn't work out, and we just have to hit with this draft. We have to. It's a must. We cannot lay eggs in this draft.
Agreed. Houday, Preston, thank you very much for those kind words. Justin, real quick before we get out of here, you like your draft?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I went with Faltanu at first round as well because I wanted to switch it up a little bit on you guys. I went Benson second round, Trey Benson, then McKinley Jackson in the 3rd, James Williams, linebacker, Miami in the 4th. Second pick of the 3rd round, Cade Stover. So I also had Stover in the 4th, and then Jacob Cowing, receiver out of Arizona in the 5th. So I think addressed a lot of the same spots that you did, Jake, just in a little different order.
Little different order. Yeah. And again, I think we all kind of know where the Bengals need to go with this draft at this moment, but who knows if there's some free agency news coming up here very soon. All right, guys, that was another edition of the Bengals Pulse. As always, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you check us out on all the podcast platforms, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. As always, if you like this podcast, make sure you give us that 5-star review. We'd very much appreciate that. As always, follow Mon on Twitter at TheFireMon. Follow me on Twitter at CoachJakeOwens9. Follow Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. The Cincinnati Podcast Network on Twitter at CincinnatiPod. the Bengals Pulse on Twitter at Bengals_Pulse9, and on Instagram, the same without the at Bengals_Pulse9. And follow our good buddy Justin Wells on Twitter at Justin L. Wells. Justin, once again, thank you for coming on board for Mock 3.0. We will make sure that we drag you back on here for Mock 4.0 as we get closer to the draft. All right, guys, he is Mon. It's Eric, Justin, I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Hoo-day, Bengal fans. We will see you next week.